Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about common factors of polynomials. Okay, so what is a GCF? Okay, a GCF is the there it goes. Alright, greatest common factor. Okay, so it's the largest factor of a polynomial that's a factor for each term of the polynomial. Okay, so we're going to be looking for the GCF. Okay. All right. So GCF of polynomials. The first thing you want to do is you want to find and factor the GCF. Break it down to, we're going to look at each individual term. You can see the terms were written here. Here's the first term. Here it is listed here. Here's the second term. Here it is listed here. So they're going to write out all the factors. 2 times 3 gives us 6. X times x gives us x squared. And then we have the y. Okay, then we'll look at 14xy squared. 2 times 7, x times y times y. 2 times 3 times 7 we'll get 42, and then we have x times y. 2 times x times x times y times y. Okay, you can notice there's a 2 in every single one of this list of factors. Okay, so we're going to have the 2. Alright, then we can see there's an x in every single term. Okay, so then we'll have x. And then we see there's a y in every single term. Okay, so the greatest common factor for this polynomial is 2xy. And then you have to finish writing what's left over. We have a 3 and an x, 3x comes from. And then we have a 7 and a y left in the second term, so that's where that comes from. Here we have 3 times 7. Okay. Oh, it didn't finish writing the rest down there. 3 times 7, so that should be a minus 21, because up here that was minus 42xy. There were no terms left there. And then down here, there is also going to be a minus, and then there's an x and a y left. So that parentheses shouldn't be there. It should be a minus x times y. And that's what's left over from our polynomial after we factor out the GCF. Okay? Okay, so if we write the two terms in the form of prime factors, that's what is written down here. Okay? That's your first step. Write the two terms in the form of prime factors. 2 times 2 times y times y times y gives us 4y cubed. And then we have our minus sign, and then we have 2 times y times y. Okay, so we know there's a 2y times y in both of these terms. So our greatest common factor is 2y times y. What's left over each of these? Okay, we have a 2 and a y. And there's nothing left over in the second one, so that's an understood 1. So that's where these two terms come from. And their minus sign between comes down. So our greatest common factor was 2y squared, and what was left over in our polynomial after we factored out the greatest common factor was 2y minus 1. Alright, so let's take a look at this one. If we write the prime factors for 8x squared, it's going to be 2 times 4 gives us 8, but 4 isn't a prime factor. So 4 is also 2 times 2, right? And then x squared is x times x, right? And then if we do 24, 2 times 12 gives us 24. 12 is not prime. 12 is 2 times 6. 6 is not prime. 6 is 2 times 3. Okay? So, looking at this, guys, we can see what is common here. We've got 2 times 2 times 2. And that's all that is common here, right? There's no variables in the second term. So, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And what's left over here? We've got x times x, which will leave us with x squared, and then the 3. So plus 3. Okay? All right, let's take a look at this one. We have 3 times x times x. And from the second term, we'll have 2 times 3 times x. Now, our greatest common factors are going to be 3x. Okay? When we factor out the 3x, from the first term, we have an x left, and the sign was plus. And then we have a 2 from the second term. Alright, so let's take a look at this one. This one has 3 terms. It's a little bit more difficult, but not so much. Okay? Looking at the first term, 6 is going to be 2 times 3. R to the 5th is r times r times r times r times r. Okay, and then we have times s. Then the second one is 2 times 2 times r times r times r times r times s times s. Okay, and the last one is going to be 2 times 4, which is 4 is not prime, so it's also 2 times 2. Okay, then we have times r times s. Okay, so in every single term we see a 2. Okay, we also see 2 r's and 1 s. Okay? And then what's left over is what we write inside of our parentheses, right? So we're going to have 2r squared s as our greatest common factor. In the first term, we have 3r cubed. Second term, the sign was a plus, so we're going to have plus 2r squared s. And the third term only had 2 times 2 left over, which is going to give us, and the sign was a minus, so it's going to be minus 4. Okay? And that's it, guys. Have a great day.